This afternoon, I received and accepted the resignation of Chief Barnes. I want to thank him for his service to the city. He cares deeply about this work and about this city. That dedication is genuine, and I wish him the best.
Breaking tonight, a major shakeup at the Seattle Police Department. Less than 3 hours ago, Mayor Katie Wilson announced the resignation of Police Chief Shon Barnes. Good evening, I'm Preston Phillips.
And I'm Molly Shen. The resignation follows a tumultuous week at City Hall, including intense scrutiny and criticism over the response to Sunday's deadly mass shooting at the Bight of Seattle.
We have team coverage of the chief's resignation, including reaction from the community and city council members.
But we begin with KOMO's Jeremy Harris and more on the mayor's explanation for why things needed to change at SPD. Jeremy.
Yeah, well, after days of being on the defensive, Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson just admitted that the city botched its response to the aftermath of the Bight of Seattle shooting. And while she didn't point the finger only at the Seattle Police Department, she did say SPD is going to update their policies about how to communicate with the public in the aftermath of large incidents. And I've confirmed with multiple sources that it was her office calling most of the shots that night. We are almost 5 hours into this. It took 5 hours for the city of Seattle to release basic information about what happened at Seattle Center during the Bight of Seattle shooting, including whether the campus was safe, a suspect being arrested, and the fact that this was not a targeted mass shooting or act of terror. In that time, nobody from the police or city had briefed the press on scene, and public information was limited. When a police spokesperson told us the press conference was delayed yet again, I didn't hold back.
We got other dignitaries that want to be here.
Well, we have the public that wants an answer about what's going on. And I mean, that is not on you. But to tell the public that we are waiting for dignitaries to give us an answer is absolutely outrageous. The information and the stakeholders are right there, and we are right here. Now, Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson is accepting responsibility.
Information could and should have gone out much faster.
She says a breakdown in communication meant no updates were going out to the public or press, and there was confusion about the status of the campus.
I also want to name that there was miscommunication between SPD and my office about the timing of a press conference late in the evening between 9:45 and 10:45 p.m. What I did not fully understand in that moment was how little information had reached the public or the press since the incident began at 6 p.m. The public should have heard sooner about outstanding suspects and the status of the Seattle Center campus.
Now, the mayor says that they're going to be changing policies, and we'll be following up on exactly what those policy changes are going to be. The mayor says if she had known that how little information had gone out, she would have changed course and told them to do a press briefing much earlier in the night. Reporting live outside City Hall, Jeremy Harris, KOMO News.
So, Jeremy, we just reheard that frustration that you experienced. There's been all that attention on the first press conference being delayed for dignitaries. Did the mayor address that?
Yeah, she did, in fact. And as we know, those dignitaries were Governor Bob Ferguson and Representative Pramila Jayapal. We were told at the press conference we were holding so that they could get there. That's sort of what kicked off all of the frustration, not only from myself, but from other journalists who were there. Well, both offices for Ferguson and Jayapal have pushed back, saying they were not told to even get down to Seattle Center until after 10 o'clock. So, of course, it makes sense that they didn't get there and get everything in place till almost 11 o'clock to get that press conference going. Now, in the mayor's video, she admitted that our frustration was completely valid, as we felt like, and keep in mind, this was not about us standing outside or the press not getting information immediately. It was about the public not having that information. And today, the mayor's video substantiated the public and the press both should have had much more information much sooner.
Jeremy Harris reporting live for us tonight. Thank you.
And that brings us to tonight's KOMO Pulse Poll. You can scan the QR code there on your screen to answer this question. Who should be held most accountable for how the Bight of Seattle shooting was handled? This is a live look at the results, and you can see a majority of people here. 72% say Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson. 20% say Seattle Police Chief Shon Barnes. 8% say other parties. We'll share the updated results tonight on KOMO News at 11. The Seattle City Council says they've been kept in the dark about Mayor Katie Wilson's dissatisfaction with Shon Barnes and say the move has given a sudden crisis in confidence in the mayor's office. KOMO Senior reporter Chris Daniels has fresh reaction live tonight from Seattle City Hall. Chris?
Preston, yes, you heard Wilson seem to blame the response to Sunday's shooting as a reason for Barnes' dismissal. But multiple council members here at Seattle City Hall tell me that she has been talked out of this twice before since she took office earlier this year, including right before the FIFA World Cup. And it has now led one council member to tell me she has no confidence in Seattle's mayor.
Who fires their chief of police in the middle of a murder investigation? Who continually holds over the chief's head, I may fire you, oh, but now I'm not going to because now we have to do FIFA.
Councilmember Deborah Juarez says Mayor Katie Wilson has been debating whether to fire the police chief since the day she entered office and never shared a reason why she couldn't work with Shon Barnes.
This mayor should not fire Chief Barnes. And if she makes that decision, then she needs to be held accountable for that decision. What we're seeing under this administration, under Mayor Wilson, are more than just gaffes or missteps. I see a complete lack of leadership, and for us and some of us, a no confidence in this administration.
To let him go is irresponsible, and it's a tad bit reckless, and it puts us in a very difficult position as a city.
Council President Joy Hollingsworth has served as mayor pro tem for 16 days this year, as Wilson has attended conferences and vacation, and says Barnes's documented travel schedule is not an issue.
That, has to go through an approval process, and if it was a problem, I'm sure they would have flagged it, so I'm not sure if that is the reasoning behind their concern.
And multiple council members say Wilson's move puts the city in danger of finding anyone capable to lead the department in the future.
Who's going to come from the outside now? This time, we're going to have to promote from within, no doubt, because again, who's going to want to come to Seattle in this circumstances?
Who would want to come to Seattle in this type of environment? Who wants to come to Seattle if you have politicized the police department? If they're not towing the political ideological line? And a good example is cameras. Yes, that's a great campaign idea, turn off the cameras. But in real life, in the Central District, Capitol Hill, Aurora, where people are being shot, that's the real world. And that's the world we live in, like it or not.
Councilmember Juarez hinting at perhaps what was the issue that created a divide between Seattle's Mayor Katie Wilson and the now former Seattle Police Chief Shon Barnes. However, Juarez stopped short of calling for any sort of no confidence vote. Councilmember Bob Kettle, who leaves the Seattle Council's Public Safety Committee, also would not answer the question about whether he has confidence in Seattle's mayor. Preston, Molly.
Well, Chris, the mayor specifically seemed to call out the communication issues on Sunday, but was that entirely the chief's fault?
It's a question that we're going to ponder and explore over the days, weeks, and months ahead. Keep in mind that Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson does not have a full-time communications director at this point, does not have a full-time public safety council representative or a full-time press secretary, I should say. And there was a question on Sunday about, as you heard Jeremy Harris report on, the immediate response from the mayor's office and the police department. I am told straight from Governor Bob Ferguson, there were multiple Zoom calls that night between elected leaders, including Katie Wilson, including Gurmai Zahalai, the King County executive, including Bob Ferguson, including Pramila Jayapal. There were multiple Zoom calls. Nobody came to the scene, and Ferguson tells me he did not get a request to come to the scene until well after 10 o'clock and well after the media was told there would be any sort of public briefing with new information.
KOMO City reporter Chris Daniels live tonight from Seattle City Hall. Thank you, Chris.
The president of Seattle's police union released a statement about Chief Barnes' resignation. It reads in part, Mayor Katie's administration has delivered confusion, mixed messages, and chaos surrounding Chief Barnes. The distractions keep coming, the solutions don't. It goes on to say, unfortunately, Mayor Katie has made it clear that public safety is not her administration's priority.
Mayor Katie Wilson has appointed Deputy Chief Andre Sayles as interim chief and will do a formal introduction in a news conference tomorrow at 11 a.m. Sayles brings more than 2 decades of law enforcement experience to the job. He most recently served as Seattle's Deputy Chief of Administration and Investigations after leading the Beloit, Wisconsin Police Department as chief. City leaders say under his leadership there, gunshot victims dropped more than 80% as he focused on both crime reduction and community policing.
The resignation of Shon Barnes comes a little more than a year to the day since he was sworn in as the 38th chief of Seattle Police Department history. This was his message to the city last July.
I chose Seattle because I believe in it. I believe in its people, I believe in its possibilities, and I believe in the pursuit of progress.
Barnes was originally named interim chief in January of last year following the firing of Chief Adrian Diaz. He had previously served as chief of police in Madison, Wisconsin.
Leaders in Seattle's black community mounted a public push to keep the police chief. Dozens of clergy members, civil rights leaders, and community advocates showed up at City Hall to demand a meeting with the mayor. KOMO's Joel Marino live tonight with their calls to reverse course and their next steps now that he's resigned. Joel?
Here again, Preston, we saw some fierce backlash on display. The people who showed up to support the police chief say pushing him to resign was the wrong decision at the worst possible time.
We want our chief!
A firestorm has erupted at Seattle City Hall. Some of the city's most influential black leaders showed up to tell Mayor Katie Wilson that removing the police chief would carry a political price.
You need our support, you need our help, but you can't keep Xing out our leaders like they don't matter.
Out of the dozens on hand, a small group of community leaders met briefly with the mayor to express their support for Chief Shon Barnes. They came away without an answer.
Certainly we will not divulge any of the conversation, but we had implored and admonished the mayor to reconsider her decision.
Now that Barnes is officially out, many feel blindsided.
It's a decision not just for her, but for this city. We can't go without a police chief right now.
The departure comes just days after the deadly mass shooting at the Seattle Center, when Barnes was out of state and there was a multi-hour delay in getting information to the public.
If there's going to be a reaction like this, where people start losing their jobs, we should have the same reaction when people are getting shot in Southeast Seattle, the Central District, or anywhere else.
It also set off renewed scrutiny over how much time Barnes spends away from Seattle.
It's not new to her that he goes to Chicago to visit his family. That is not a fireable offense.
But this group says the fight may not be over and the mayor will hear from them again.
I assure you, you will hear from us in an exponential fashion.
I love this community. Thank you.
This is a rash decision that's not well advised. It seems to be a decision that shows some inexperience.
Well, these supporters say removing the police chief now does nothing to stop the gun violence, which they say should be the real focus of this administration, at least when it comes to public safety.
Joel, I'm curious, did these leaders tell you anything about what was discussed in the private meeting with the mayor this morning and how she responded?
We were trying to get a sense of that. They told us that what was said in that room had to stay in that room. That was a deal they made with the mayor. But they did say that Mayor Wilson stayed pretty stoic during the exchange and didn't really indicate one way or another what she planned to do. For their part, though, they did say that they really tried to focus on the contributions that the police chief has made since taking over the department, as well as what they called his accessibility to the community. Molly and Preston.
All right, Joel, thank you. Our coverage of the resignation of Chief Shon Barnes doesn't end when we are off the air. We have extensive coverage online, including our full story, plus statements and interviews from various city council members reacting to the news. Scan the QR code there on your screen, which takes you directly to KOMOnews.com. You can also get Mayor Wilson's full video and other extended video on the KOMO News YouTube page.